Lawmakers getting ready to check out while our veterans are still waiting for a simple checkup. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto. And with Congress packing its bags for an August break, fixes for the VA will have to wait until they come back from that break. It's true. Whether it's delayed care or no care, no one in Washington seems to care. To Ben Stein, Charles Payne, Dagan McDowell, Adam Lashinsky, Charlie Gasparino will be back next week. Charles Payne, what's going on?
This is embarrassment. It gets from bad to worse, and whatever the next word is. 5-week recess and nothing resolved. A whole bunch of ideas out there. Most of them, you know, hey, let's throw more money at it. 18 billion, 30 billion. Nothing concrete. More horror stories every single day. Investigations, over 100 investigations. It's an absolute nightmare. It really, I just don't know how we can do this kind of a disservice to the vets.
But we do, and Dagan, now they're quibbling over 17 billion, or is it 37 billion, or is it going to be 45 billion for an agency that gets 158 billion a year? And I think we're arguing past each other here, aren't we?
We are, and you know, I argued against rushing to throw money at it. That we've seen what's happened in the past, even with the bank bailout, when everything, you know, the sky was falling, and you make decisions based on that kind of urgency. However, this does just seem to be pure, at least somewhat partisan bickering between the House Republicans and the Senate Democrats, and that's what's the most disgusting about it, is that they can't come together for a mutual good cause to fix a very serious problem.
They're intransigent.
And they're just fighting with each other. I can't, you know, you read articles, I can't even really figure out what they're fighting over. I mean, there's some money differences in the two bills in the House and the Senate, but for the most part, they look the same.
That's basically it. And the Senate provision that would make temporary this capacity to fire federal union workers. But really, that's basically it. But Ben Stein, I mean, a lot of these things aren't money issues as much as just conduct issues, allowing you know, the new VA head, when he gets in there, if he gets in there, I assume he will, to just go ahead and fire people or shutter either hospitals or underperforming units. That doesn't cost. So I don't know why there's this big debate over a few extra billion.
Well, the interesting thing is that since I've been a civil servant for a good part of my life, once you're in there, they really can't get you out of there unless you've committed murder right there at your desk. And it's an amazingly bad situation in terms of medical practice in particular, because in the private sector, if you don't like your doctor, you just quit and go to another doctor. In this situation, you're pretty much chained to the VA. You have no freedom of action. And the Congress, you know, I've often thought the Congress should be getting the Academy Awards. They put on these incredibly serious faces. They look seriously concerned, they frown, they point their fingers at each other, and then they go off to adore and worship the rich people in their districts to raise money for their next campaign. There's no serious attention being paid to the veterans in terms of the heart and soul of the lawmakers, and it's a real problem. And there's no serious attention paid to rooting out the dead wood in the bureaucracy. That's got to happen throughout the government.
And that doesn't cost right up front. Back to this money issue here and why we seem to be fixated on, again, whether it's going to be 17 extra billion or 30 some odd extra billion. A lot of these things, like even a quick voucher program, which I'm told by some hospital chiefs, it's something they already have in place. If you have to wait for care at a VA facility, go to another facility and get the care pronto. The ability to fire people right away, that's something you don't need cash to do. But nonetheless, it's the fallback. And it worries me because, you know, these guys are hurting.
So I think this is a terrible mess. Like Dagan, I can't remember which way you were on this, Dagan. I believe that we should throw more money at the situation because, as well as all the other things that you mentioned, Neil, I mean, we should do whatever we can for the veterans. I do want to make the observation, Neil, that on this program and many others, there's been a thought over the years that, gee, when Congress can't get anything done, that's a good thing for our country because gridlock is good because they're so bad. I disagreed with that then. I disagreed with it now. We should want them to do their jobs.
Don't make a general statement in reverse here. I mean, the fact of the matter is, and Charles, maybe you can help me with this, these are our heroes. And I think what we're doing here is sending a signal that if this is how we're treating our bravest, man, oh man, if that doesn't give you preview coming attractions with Obamacare, I don't know what does.
Yeah, you can't have it, a broad stroke, Adam. That's very disingenuous. This is something.
So you do want the government to do something, and you do want Congress to act.
On the veterans, absolutely, and I want them to do something that's
smart.
We're
in complete agreement. I get it.
No, Adam, I don't want them to do anything you want them to do. That's all I'm saying. I want them to do this. This is what I want them to do, Charles.
And here's the thing. Listen, you can throw the money at it. I think that's a mistake to say just money is the magic elixir, because it hasn't been. We've seen this budget since 2009. This budget has outpaced inflation by 40%. We're throwing gobs of money at it already. If we don't fix it structurally, it will be the same exact problems, just with more money. We won't know where the money went. We don't know where it goes now.
Go ahead, Neil.
No, finish it.
No, the initial independent report, we're going to get a bigger report about what was going on at the VA in August, but it found a corrosive culture, bureaucracy, systemic problems. You have the central office since the 90s growing from like 800 employees to 11,000 employees. So in terms of really getting in there and changing the culture, this is something that's going to take years and years to fix, and it's going to take somebody who's tough. And will Congress let that person
will be allowed
get tough?
to do it? Be allowed
right,
to do the job.
Well, that's the key, right, Ben? Now, if you were offered that job, Ben, to take over the VA, and you didn't have the power technically to fire people, but you went ahead in there knowing you wanted to bank some eggs because you just were impatient and had it, what would happen to you?
I think I would lose my mind and I wouldn't take the job. Look, you're talking about a problem that is as old as government itself, which is once a person gets there and there as a government employee, the arrogance of office, as Shakespeare put it so very brilliantly, takes hold, and they don't feel they owe anything to anybody but themselves. I've been there. I've been on the inside. I've seen how it works. Unless they get a possibility of being able to fire incompetence, nothing good's going to happen.
Let me make a counterpoint to that. Neil, I think we should agree on something. This is quite appropriately a political topic. The VA should be run by politicians because we're dealing with our veterans, the people who fight our wars for us. This is an appropriate political topic for our government, for our country. And my point in saying this is, I don't doubt in the weeds, Ben, what you say is true. This is an opportunity for leadership. The president needs to lead. Congress needs to lead.
Adam, no one's leading.
We can make the Veterans Administration
right.
right.
Maybe that's a sign to Ben's point. He knows more about the civil arena than I do, but that maybe this is not the way we handle our veterans. Maybe they get front row seat care.
Maybe it's not the way we handle the civil service.
Well, I grant you that. But do you privatize it? What do you do? What do you do? If this public system isn't working.
That may be a thought. That may be a thought.
I have many thoughts.
Maybe the privatizing a lot of it is a thought.
Because so far, Washington's been giving our veterans the finger, and shame on them. Shame on them.
But we don't want to
that.
privatize it. This is a government function. We need to take care of them, not privatize this, offload it to somebody else.
But I think the idea is not even if you don't privatize it, Adam, have some elements of the private sector that account for accountability, that allow for changes to be made. If there are embedded changes, the right word I think Ben used, driftwood. I mean, look, if you have this whole system clogged up with a bunch of deadwood, rather, then how do you not fix it doing it the same way? You have to change it.
Well, guys, here's where we stand right now. Here's where we stand right now. Ben, maybe you could pick up on this. Right now, we've got the Senate and the House looking at a 5-week recess the week after next. It is possible that McDonald, that is the VA choice, will get voted on, at least in committee, fingers crossed, in the Senate, ready to go. But he will still come into a job where his powers are just as limited as the last goon. So now we're faced with the possibility of a new guy coming in, powerless to do anything until they reconcile these House and Senate measures, which is at least put off until after Labor Day. Not good.
It's very bad indeed, but again, this is how the government works. It is basically accountable to no one but itself, and often not even accountable to itself. And as to the very sound point that Adam made about, as to the very sound point that Adam made, even though he keeps interrupting me, I think it is a government function, but so is medicine. Yet we give old people like me Medicare, and we are allowed to spend it on private doctors. Maybe that's the solution for VA. Treat them like Medicare people. Give them money to spend on private doctors.
All I know is VA is not working. It's just not working. So you can give more money to something that's not working, but generally that doesn't work much better. That's just my thought, my opinion. and it is my show. So, just kidding. Relax. All right, meanwhile, what if I told you there is something that lawmakers from both parties agree on that could save taxpayers billions of dollars right now? The Forbes gang has all the details. But up next.